That way, Marine the Mercenary and Arms Dealer.
What's up, guys? Going live. This is going to probably be a monthly thing. We're going to call it, like you heard, the little chuckle of the Marine, the Mercenary, and the Arms Dealer. To my left, I got to put up my little finger. Left. Yeah, I'm dyslexic too. Is the Mercenary. Once he introduces himself, he can choose to call what he wants to call himself. I call him Mr. Valentine.
Mr. Valentine.
And then to his left is Lucky, whatever he chooses to call himself. He is the arms dealer. And you all should know by now because I have that Marine pride. I am the Marine. I am Tyson. Some people know me by Frosty. Hope our content works for you. This content will be probably not very PC. Be ready for it. If you get offended easily, this is probably not something for you to watch. Let us know what you think in the comments, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Valentine to introduce himself, and we'll start off.
Anybody that knows me pretty much, I don't even know what to say, to be honest. Kind of an asshole.
Hard training.
Yeah, a lot of hard training.
Evil genius.
Evil genius, super villain.
You're like a combination of like Pinky and the Brain and the Brain.
Exactly. What are we going to do tonight?
You're like Pinky and the Brain. You're like the whole cartoon show
all mixed in one. A little nuts, that is true.
Well, we do call you Flying Squirrel. I
am a flying squirrel. I do climb very, very high things and not afraid of heights or scared pretty much of anything at this point.
A lot of you know me because I do a lot of work with Tyson on a bunch of different projects. I own Darkside Tactical and Watchlion Security, which is one of our new up-and-coming projects that we do. We do a ton of executive protection and close protection officer stuff and diplomatic protection. And I think we're all kind of all in the same boat with a lot of different life experiences. It's kind of fun doing what we do best, and we're good at it. Huge shout out to one of our hopefully soon to be sponsors, Warfighter Tobacco, and Vincent Vargas for okaying that a bit. We're gonna smoke cigars and talk about everything under the sun, from life to our experiences to modern day what's happening like around us here and in the world. So I don't know, this week, what happened with you this week?
So just so everybody knows, if you're making comments, we can't really see them just for how we have this set up right now. That will change, but nonetheless, for right now, that's where it is. I'll get back to you as soon as I can with all the comments and questions. But this week for me, I got some pretty exciting news. We'll probably dive into that later on, down into this stuff. I just want to make sure that it's all straight up legit. But I have some good things going on. On my side of things, last 2 weeks I've been working, 3 weeks now, working at Lake Effect. Some of you see the posts of me working the door at Lake Effect. I'm having a blast working the door, doing security there. I'm in the works of getting set up for a school in Miami. I'm going to go get certified to work in the UK, doing EP stuff. Looking forward to that, kind of getting the ball rolling for that. It's pretty much where I'm at right now with what's going on for the week for me.
What about you?
My week? Pretty much just my usual job.
When is the next?
The UT-45 shoot.
Yeah.
So the UT-45 shoot it's the AR shoot. I believe it's every second Saturday of every month. We do a shoot. We shoot no matter what. If it's raining, snowing, it doesn't matter. Last time I checked, warfare doesn't stop because of weather. So it's
And if the shit ever hits the fan, it's not. You're not going to be like.
It's not time out.
no.
Time out. It's snowing. We can't.
Trust me, you know what? I absolutely fucking hate the cold, but I was up in North Dakota, -30, -56 wind chill, and that's cold. This is nice right now. I can deal with this, but when it gets that cold, it's no longer fun. But I mean, if you're really coming out there, I'd like to give a shout out to a friend of mine, Mike Dury. Excellent instructor. He's the head instructor for the UT-45. I would really recommend checking him out if you're a like-minded individual and you like training. That's pretty much all we do is train.
We're gonna throw a bunch of links up in the comments too about everything that all the stuff that we're talking about. Training's a big deal with all of us. I think all of us have been through a significant amount over the years.
Most
so
definitely.
that's a big deal. This isn't wholly about guns and shooting and all of that. This is about all kinds of different stuff. Sorry, the burn missile's like going haywire around here.
So another project that we're all kind of involved in is Op4. That goes along with training. We're bad guys for good reasons. It's one of those things that we definitely play the villain side of things because that's the truth of the matter. If you're not willing to be devious, no holds bar, I don't know if some of you caught a few posts I did a little while ago. It's not always pew pew. I'll be straight up honest with you. I'm more dangerous with 20 feet of chain and a couple bad locks and some diesel fuel. Bag of marbles.
It's not waterboarding.
Yeah, it's not waterboarding.
Baptizing terrorists.
Yeah,
What are you talking
with
about?
diesel fuel, most definitely. I don't know what kind of, where would you guys like to see this go? This is kind of the things that I'd like to talk about of like what direction we're gonna take this.
I mean, we could go everything from life experiences to world events. I mean,
Well, and I was talking with Tyson here earlier was look at what happened in Haiti over this last week. That was a big deal. And
the contractors.
the contractors
Yeah.
that got popped and charged with all kinds of stuff. And one of them, a Navy SEAL, and it just, I have a lot of people that come up to me and go, what does it take to do private contracting? And it's basically putting your balls on a chopping board, not knowing when the axe is going to fall is potentially the case. They're getting, who knows what's going to happen. They could potentially be left out to dry, on what happened there.
What do you think about the Mozambique coming up?
For which?
Eric Prince.
I think what he's doing is fantastic. He's on point with where he's going with it. He stepped out of a really, not a shitty situation with Blackwater and a lot of those different entities that he's kind of rolled through. But, to step into something new and really own it, and I think he's going to end up in a much better place after this.
I think it's going to be ran pretty tip top too. I don't
Yeah,
think there's gonna be a lot of that.
you're not going to see the mistakes, and I know he's out, not necessarily looking for people, but they're always looking for top quality people too. That's one thing. What else?
Well,
Oh, we just finished the Utah legislature
Well, that we did.
here.
We did.
8 bills that went up, some good, mostly none bad. Are all bad. None that were like so. Most of them sucked. A lot of them pushed, which is really bizarre, by a really left wing agenda. You would figure that us being in, behind the Zion curtain and in a quote unquote red state,
Yeah.
that we would have this, and for them to throw red flag laws and all kinds of
Well,
stuff is just bad.
We're starting to see it all over the nation too, in a lot of these red states. I mean, you almost look at like the Cloward and Piven strategy. We're getting a lot of people here from California. So, I mean, cost of living, especially in the area we're at right now, is starting to go up because you get these people moving in from California. Well, even though California is, in my opinion, is a failed state. I mean, what was it? San Francisco just claimed their all-time record of 16,000 people shitting on the street.
Yeah, but see, and I got trouble for that too, because you look at it was Seattle ended up there. Here's this city, this significantly blue city that's almost hyper progressive, and yet they're ranked number 2 in the country for property crime. Like, meaning someone's breaking into your car or your home, and a lot of it revolves around the drug problem and the homeless problem they have there, and they're not addressing it. The city council stepped away from it, and the other side of it is the only other city that was bigger was San Francisco.
Yep.
San Francisco is the number 1 property crime city in the country, and people are thinking it's like this happy go-to haven,
Well,
for progressivism, and it just is not.
I mean, look at San Francisco. Look at out there to, I mean, even get a condo out there. Look how much you're paying for that.
Right.
I mean, it's not livable.
I mean, and everyone's like, oh, you need to be really like, fuck California, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, I like it out there. I love
Honestly, Northern California, when I went up there, absolutely gorgeous.
It's stunning.
It
The
was
lifestyle
beautiful.
I
It
could
was
live
nice.
if you could do without all of the politics and go back to like.
I can't do it because they're gun laws. Their gun
Right,
laws
but
kill
Reagan
me. Oh, yeah.
era California, back when Disneyland was like fun.
Disneyland.
And
It's fun.
Disneyland is fun, but you know what I mean. And so it's like, it's not a place that I would ever want to live. I have all my California friends, and I have a ton of friends out there, and I'm like move. If you like California, keep your house in California. God, you could buy a house out
Here
here.
for dirt cheap compared to what they're paying out
Just
there.
you
But
you
that's
can
what
rent your house
But
in
that's
California
what
and
the
pay
sad
your
thing
mortgage
is,
here.
That's what
You know?
they're doing. But it's not. We're not getting the liberty-loving crowd.
No, we're
that's
not. We're
moving
getting the
here.
people that want the best of both worlds.
Yes.
And they're bringing their ideology here to a red state, and it's frustrating. It's ridiculously frustrating.
You know, my whole opinion is kick commies out of helicopters, but that's just me.
No. Make commies afraid of rotary aircraft.
again. Yes. You know, we're
Make communists afraid of rotary aircraft again.
yes.
But-
I don't know. For me, I'm having a hard. I try to keep to myself. I don't really speak my mind. When I do speak my mind, I speak my mind in good company, because a lot of the shit I say, people are like, "You can't say that," and I'm like, "Well, I fucking just did. I don't care." It's
And it's funny because I'm the oldest one here, and you get to that point in your life where it is a zero fucks kind of thing.
it is.
And I'm not, you have to respect people's places in there, and I think a lot of it, what comes down is a lot of people's, where they draw the line of what personal property is, and that goes into a whole, like,
You
the
get into
map and
whole,
all
yeah.
of that, but that's just it, is that let me just live in the West and be free,
Yep, agreed. And
that's,
taxation is theft.
oh god, dude, that-
Nobody can deny that
No.
taxation is theft, but at the same time, in reality, so we all share a mutual friend. I'm not going to drop his name or anything like that, but he has a lot of bark with, oh, we need to do this, we need to do that against government, and it comes down to, who's we? Why? Where's your bite? Because
Well, that's-
ultimately, I got to pay taxes no matter what.
See, and I was just thinking about that, is that it goes back to that same Seattle thing, is that all of these people that are so angry, and they're like, they want to create this haven of what they call freedom, and yet they don't want to. Here's their city council, here's their government. Stand up to them, vote them out, change your local laws, vote in your primaries, do your thing.
Yeah.
Voting is a key thing. A lot of people think it's rigged and all that happy hoopla bullshit.
Well,
but
look at what happened today, and I am far from being a Trump fan. He is like, I'm 100% not fond of that guy, and he's our president, but he is, and I saw something today, he's the most vetted president in history because he just had, you know, this investigation crawling up every aspect of his life and is coming out of it squeaky clean.
Yep.
And
Well, in my opinion, too, these people to put forth false allegations against him, it's high time we start investigating them.
what it's
we get the corruption out.
what's interesting to find is that progressive friends of mine that used to scold me big time, they'd be like, you can't be in the middle. You can't hate the left and the right.
Yeah, you
And
can.
I'm like, yes,
I can.
yes I can. I can hate them both. Very much so are going, because they are both corrupt.
Mhm.
And it's just how, whatever side of corruption you want to look at. And yet, you know, that's, and everybody goes, well, it's just because you're a privileged white man. And I'm like, yes, I get that. I get that I'm white. I get that I'm privileged. I also work my ass off to have gotten where I've gotten and done what I've done and
Personally,
had
I
the
don't-
experiences I've
I don't think race has anything to do with it. That we're all human beings.
No, I agree, but you look at, here's where I go, it's like, you want, what I would like to see is I would like to see the youth in Chicago and Detroit start standing up against the people that are pushing them down these roads of disparity. It's horrifyingly sad.
Well, I think that with that, like Chicago and stuff like that, is people like living in their own shit is what it comes down to. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm that guy that gets stuck on that island of woe is me, and I'm notorious for it. Earlier this year, oh, woe is me, life sucks. Well, why does it suck? Because I make it suck. And educating myself and realizing, hey, maybe this is a little seasonal depression. Let's add some bad situations to the life choices that I've made. What's adding to that? Well, I control those choices. I control my environment. Nobody can make me feel anything that I don't want to. And I think that people take advantage of that of, oh, you oppress me because I grew up in this environment. Don't get me wrong. I grew up in an environment where it could be very negative or it could be very positive. You know, I grew up around a lot of just garbage that personally I'd hate anybody to have to deal with, but at the same time it's made me who I am. It's not made me what I am, it's made me who I am, and those experiences of being in the Marine Corps, working nightclubs, working, you know, EP stuff, and being able to experience those things have made me who I am. But if they've been negative, it's never been a situation of, well, that defines me. And I think that that's the problem, is people get so caught up in being defined by their circumstance rather than saying, okay, this is not what I want. I want something better, so what do I have to do for me? Not, oh, the government should hand me my welfare check, or if I keep popping out babies, I'll just keep collecting money and now this is my job.
Well, if you think about it, human beings are naturally lazy to begin with.
Almost
We look for the easiest thing. I mean, especially, if you're going to ambush someone, you look at the natural lines of drift. What are they going to do? They're going to take that natural line of drift.
Oh, yeah.
That's where it is. Human beings are no different. It doesn't matter if we're hiking up a mountain, going across a field, or if it comes to life in general. You see something that's easy, it's like, well, that's a lot easier. I'm doing this the hard way. To get
Most
somewhere in
definitely.
life, it's hard fucking work.
Also,
But that hard fucking work is worth it.
so I'm able to pull some of the comments.
Sweet guy.
Scott Sullivan, how you doing out in North Cal? Yeah, we probably could use a producer, and I think that's a possibility. A little farther down the road. We're winging it today. I guess we'll do nothing but get better, so keep an eye. There will be a YouTube channel up with all of this on it, covering a lot of our stuff. And Jay Smith, thanks for tuning in. That's kind of cool.
Can you guys hear us all right? Give us a thumbs up or something like that, just because we are sitting outside. Sun's come out earlier today. It was raining. It was kind of just shitty. And,
Turned into a pretty good day.
you know, it turned into actually a beautiful Utah day. Nice.
else happened this week?
Well,
Lake Effect last night. It was.
Oh yeah. So if you live in Salt Lake or in the Valley area,
they can't hear us.
Probably.
Yeah, we'll just have to like yell really, really loud.
A big thing would be, second largest day in Lake Effect history last night. St. Patty's Day was their biggest, and we managed it, man. We rocked it last night. No incidents. It was really good. Thanks for giving us that opportunity. I suppose it's kind of cool being there.
Yeah, most definitely. Being able to work with the team that we work with, you know, I think that's. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a really cool experience to be able to see the volume of people that come in and be able to be a part of that team and just be able to have a lot of fun. And even though it rained last night, I stood outside like a trooper, standing in the rain. Of course,
it's
if it ain't
interesting.
If
It's
it ain't
interesting.
raining,
Someone made a comment last night that was, even though the age of the clientele is better there, the maturity is about the same.
Yeah, that's
like
true.
it was, we had one lady that was just absolutely hammered and literally lost. It's like, if you're going out, have some self-control, and this goes back into self-accountability.
Oh yeah,
And that was a big thing that another friend of ours, Vince, wrote a book called Light the Fuse, and one of the chapters in it is about balance, and another one's about accountability and owning your own space, and it's a big deal. And being accountable and responsible, and a lot of that leads back to freedom. That's why it's why I live in Utah is the ability to have that bit of freedom that provides me. I think there are a few other states out there that are.
Missouri is trying to nullify all federal gun laws.
I know, but see, how are they? The problem is how they're going to continue. It's not like they can NFA or they can nullify the NFA.
They just can't enforce it.
They just won't enforce it. So I guess if you're going to go out and shoot machine guns and suppressors, that would be the place to do it. But you're still taking that. You're still taking that risk.
No, and traveling inside out, they're not going to allocate any federal funds to any federal agency there. So I mean, it goes all the way back to the right of the state, which we've seen this with marijuana too. We've seen marijuana too, which is a Schedule II drug, now is okay in certain states, and the feds have left them alone. Now, will the feds leave them alone with firearms? I doubt it. Why? Because firearms make us free. That's
and you look at what happened last year with the Share Act, and we could go super Alex Jones tinfoil hat here and be like, yeah, Paul Ryan pulled that off the table 2 weeks before they were supposed to vote that in, and it would have been signed, and all of a sudden Las Vegas happens.
Yeah, I got my.
And now all of a sudden it's like, no, we just need to table that now. And it's like, I thought you were a Republican. I thought you, and this is why people go, how can you hate the left and the right? And I'm like, because that's not living constitutionally. That's not living free. You took something that would open that up and took that away. And you look what's going to happen in on the 26th, bump stocks. It was interesting. People are like, I don't know, bump stocks, Clark Posion, Total Rockstar, suing. He potentially right now will be the only person in America that is allowed to have a bump stock, which good on him for taking that route, and hopefully it sets a precedent and they can push that forward. And granted, I'm a firearms manufacturer. Like, I'm not promoting bump stocks by any means because I think they suck anyway. You're better off.
It's just a great way to make noise and send lead round down range. Hitting shit, on the other hand, I mean, you got a fucking barrel going like this.
I think I'd rather do it with real machine guns.
Yeah.
I'd rather do it,
Everybody would love that, but everybody knows what the price of an auto sear would cost you.
Which is funny because I can buy a non-transferable Chris Vector submachine gun, right, for $1,600. And
we
yet,
got the licenses.
right, but and yet a person that wants to buy a full auto like M16 or something,
15,000.
an MP5, right? An
Oh,
MP5
shit.
right now is going on Gunbroker for $35,000 on a good day.
Yeah, but an MP5 is badass.
That's
I,
kind of the-
I don't care. I'm partial to that. I mean, it's one of those
don't
things.
get me wrong, it's
I
like
love them.
Steve, if you're watching, yes, I like roller lock guns.
No.
I like German roller lock guns.
But if you look at it, the MP5 is kind of like the gold standard of a submachine gun.
I don't
Nothing
know,
is,
man. I like my Uzis and the Mac 11s that I got. They're kind of fun.
they're fun, but think about it. Out of any other firearm out there, what has gotten more publicity, what is used by more special operations groups for wrestling than the MP5 or the MP5K?
Yeah, but isn't from my understanding, and I might be totally wrong here. I thought that the Secret Service is now using vectors.
P90s.
Oh yeah, P90s.
They were using P90s. I don't know if they've gone to the Chris Vector, but they went to the P90 for the sheer fact is the whole thing with Project 90, which was the P90, is they created that round, which is the 5.7 by 28. They wanted a heavy penetration round that compares level 2 soft body armor or level 3 soft body armor.
Yeah.
You know, you're not going to get a hold of any SS-191s.
Not anymore.
Not
I have
anymore.
one box in the way back, way back.
I'm going to plead the fifth.
Yeah, well, but the thing with that is that's nice. It's funny because I've now built and sold. In my family, I've kept it in the family. We've got a 5.7 handgun. We now just got one of the new CMMG Banshees that shoots.
Oh, okay.
That
I've been
shoots
looking.
the 5.7 round.
So
It's
the Banshees, didn't the CMMG Banshee also, didn't they do one in a 760 by 39?
Possible. It's not the Banshee. It's not
Oh,
called
it's the
Banshee
Mutant.
though.
It's the Mutant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which basically it's a almost an upper for an A. It is an upper for an AR. You know, 760.
Sort of the lowers will take the curved mags. It's bigger, but they're fun. But the Banshee, it's so tiny, and it shoots such an amazing round.
I'm
But
a
it was
big fan of
but
that,
it was the
man.
Banshee, the PS90, which is the semi-auto version, the 5.7, and then for Father's Day I got my old man a 5.7, the AR 5.7 upper,
Nice.
which was kind of cool.
Which actually is nice because you don't have to buy the proprietary P90 mags anymore that were $100.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Someone put them out now and they're going for like I think like $30 a piece.
You know, and you can always fall back to just straight AKs.
Yeah, I know you're an AK guy.
So, well, and shout out to Adam at Joe Firearms, man. They like top quality. They're putting out a quality product, even to the point where now this is funny. It's one of the things that they put on theirs is a left-handed side charge on it. Kalashnikov Concern has actually straight up copied that all the way down to manufacturing. The knob
Oh shit.
on it is completely identical to what they're doing. So and a lot of guys, I get a lot of like.
Doesn't Joe
guys-
have an event coming up here in May?
Yeah, the May Day AK shoot, the end of May, and I'll put the link in for that too in the comments. That's going to be fun. We're doing that at our range, the Big Salty Range. That's a big thing this summer. Not only on Thursdays will we have open range days that are $5 days to just come out and shoot at Big Salty, but but Tyson, David, all of us will be certified, and it's a full run and gun range, and it's private.
Move and shoot.
Right behind
Yep.
BK, and especially with the bullshit that's going down with PMAA.
I know.
Yeah.
They're trying to
Breaks.
fucking shut the shit down.
Well, and it's Salt Lake City. Like it's
Why?
they don't want to renew the lease for the ground up there.
Well, they don't want to read it, and then they don't want to.
Poor Dave's up there
Yeah.
pulling his hair out.
Well, the problem is the upkeep. They need to have a range day up there where everybody comes up and says, "Hey, okay, let's help this place grow and be the shooting area that we all enjoy. If we need new railroad ties for the 50-yard range, well, you know what? I'm sure there's 40 of you guys that have railroad ties that are just collecting dirt and in your way in your backyard. Bring them up. Let's try and do this. I mean, it's something that maybe we should look into and see if it can save it. I don't know.
Biggest thing now is getting them. Is if you're in Salt Lake, call call the city, call the mayor, get them to renew the lease.
Yeah, most
Like,
definitely.
that's number one right now. They've got to renew that lease on that Crown. It's one of the greatest ranges around here. People, you're really lighting that fantastic cigar with a big light.
I can't work your fucking torch. I'm not smart enough.
Hold a little tab down, push the button.
See, this is why everything I carry doesn't have a safety.
So, but that's, you know,
a man who can engineer a freaking
anything.
just about anything and build anything. He's like my mad scientist if I need something built. We're both over here looking at this freaking torch to light our cigar like it's a rock and I'm trying to figure out how to open a fucking coconut. It's just ridiculous.
That's what I said. There's a safety on it. We don't need safeties.
Well, you carry locked and loaded.
Oh yeah, I do.
Most everybody
And
that
no
I know
mechanical
does.
safety. None.
So,
It's just more shit to go wrong.
yeah, like it's milliseconds count.
Yeah. Hey, you carry Glock?
I do.
Do you have a mechanical safety on your Glock?
I do not.
Okay.
I have. Hey, it's a 6-point safety system. Isn't that what they safe lock?
Safe lock.
Safe lock. I don't know. I mean, that's a good subject to talk about, you know, carrying one in the pipe. I mean, those of you who have trained with us know that I'm hot all the time. Plain and simple. If I'm not carrying a gun, I got something else that's probably just as dangerous on my body.
You know, other than because that you don't carry when you're CDL. When
Yeah.
you're in your truck, but other than that, I don't know any time that any of us are not carrying.
As soon as I'm pretty much... it's on my hip till I go to bed. That's
Yeah.
just how
Work,
it is.
technically at work.
Have
Those
you
of you
ever-
that are watching
Okay, so
this at work.
So let's go with this. Has anybody out there ever had an experience where they've had to pull their concealed carry weapon? That would be an interesting feedback to hear.
Most definitely. I'd love to hear somebody's feedback of, you know, have you had to draw down? I mean, there's no, especially here in Utah.
Even low
There's-
safety.
Yeah, there's no brandishing law. So if you feel a threat and you have to draw your weapon, you can put it right back in its holster and go on about your day. And I'm sure there's going to be some concern from people around that are not educated, which is a lot. But a police officer is not going to try and take your firearm. They're not going to do anything. Hey, I thought I was a threat. The threat went away, and I went back into just hanging out.
Well, and a lot of other things that come up around that is where do you carry? Do you have one at work? Do you have one? Have you trained with it enough that you're comfortable keeping one with you all the time?
And that's the biggest thing I found with a lot of novice shooters that come in is they buy a handgun because someone told them to, and this is the latest, greatest handgun, and it's, you know, basically devastating. It's just going to shoot for them. But they go out and they basically, in a sense, qualify once every 6 months, maybe when it's warm on a perfect day. They're not out there shooting when it's cold. They're not out there shooting when it's shitty. And all these things that play an effect. I mean, you're not going to have perfect days no matter what. You've got to be able to pull your firearm, be able to draw it, and so on and so forth, and hit a target.
Yep.
How many of these people actually practice that? Most don't.
Well, think about how many people come to a class that we teach, and they leave, and they have this mentality of, now I'm like spec ops or something. not that I'm sure we've had some kind of form of training or something like that. I know definitely a lot of guys that I train with that have that elite training, but by no means am I spec ops or anything like that. But at the same time, you leave a training course and think, oh man, I'm Superman.
No.
But at the same time, you get some of these people that come to these courses and like, oh, I'm Superman, I can take on the world. And then once they leave the class, that's the last time they do it, unless they come to another class and you're like, hey, you were at the last class, this is like it is. Oh, I kind of need a refresher because I don't remember.
What exactly I was doing.
Really? We ran drills for 3.5 hours in the hot sun on this gravel. Matter of fact, you probably bled a little bit, you sweat a whole lot, and you don't remember that. You just remember the sweating and the good time.
That's the thing, and shooting is a perishable skill. Unless you actually practice it regularly, it does not stay with you. I mean,
Well, it's muscle memory comes from practice.
it does.
That's the big thing.
I mean, it does. The more you practice, I mean, every time you take your weapon off at night, anyways, you should practice your draw, put it down. That's a freebie right there. It's just you can take those little. It's fucking 5 minutes out of your day. Practice your draw from concealment, practice your draw open, get everything like that, and then just get that muscle memory built. Do that every day. Right before you go to bed. Make sure the weapon is unloaded. That way, you're clear. But do these things, and then you get in the habit of it. It becomes second nature instead of, well, I practice drawing. I mean, if you carry every day and you're not practicing drawing at least once or twice a week, you're kind of doing yourself a disservice at that point.
Yeah, because you spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
And you think about all the training you've had, all the training I've had, that can just slide.
Well, it turns into even all different types of clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Seasons change, especially here in Utah. You don't like the weather, wait 10 minutes sometimes.
It'll
Yeah,
change.
look now.
And I mean, the sun's out right now. Earlier, I thought it was going to snow, to be very honest with you. So it's one of those things, and I know it did snow in some areas. So, but fall time, winter time is a heaven sent for a fat guy like me, because ultimately I print so hard because, well, I actually just don't care if I print. But nonetheless, there's a lot of people that feel that I need to try harder, and I just don't care. I'm already a target anyways. I'm 6'6" and 300 plus pounds. I'm sticking out in a crowd no matter what.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and it was interesting in some of our security groups that we're in, seeing a lot of the questions that come up there. Some are like, can I carry while I'm on a detail? And part of that, it really comes up to the client. But a lot of places that you go, I know I've got friends that have done a lot of work in Mexico, and the only thing they have down there is bear spray. That's what they're carrying.
Yeah.
Right?
Ooh, you get secondary contamination. I mean, life can get really miserable real fast there.
Well, and I just, it's just scary for the people here that we do work for here in the U.S.
Brown. That's why you need the brown passport.
The brown passport.
The diplomatic passport.
No, that's
yeah.
a red. That's
Is it
red.
red?
The red.
No, the red.
Yeah, a red passport. Yeah, you pretty much skip security.
Mm-hmm.
You answer a few questions. But yeah, most definitely. I think that talking about.
And I would say, as a CPO, as someone that's protected some pretty high-profile people all over this planet, that you carry when you can. Like, that's what it comes down to. If you can, you do. But I've got families that I've worked for that just, not that they're adamantly anti-gun, they just don't want it around. Well, that's why I train all the rest of what I do, all of the combatives that I train from Krav to Kali to make sure that I can keep my principles safe.
Well, I mean, any type of how do I put this? Any type of art you do has to be a combat art. It has to encompass everything. It has to encompass hand-to-hand, weapons, everything like that. I mean, I'm not going to sit there. I may bag on MMA shit because this is my biggest bitch with MMA shit. There's rules. Okay? You get in a ring, you fight a guy, there's certain rules what you can do to him. No weapons allowed.
See, but this is why. So I train at Unified Krav in Sandy with Joseph Gleed, and it's Krav Maga and Jiu-Jitsu, and that's it's not about the ring, it's not about rounds, it's about walking down the street and being able to be confident enough to defend yourself. and or whoever you're with, and that's a big part of it. That's a huge part of it.
I think that's a big thing with confidence too for people is knowing that if you choose not to carry a gun and if you don't carry a knife or whatever it is, having that confidence. I think that's a huge thing. I mean, I know a lot of women that they're just gunfighters, straight up. I wouldn't
My
have a
sister-in-law,
problem. Yeah,
Anne-Marie.
yeah. But at the same time, I talk to a lot of women too that are like, hey, I don't want to carry a gun. Well, go do some self-defense. You feel uneasy, go do some self-defense. And then practice it. Do it all the time. Practice on your kids. Practice with your spouse, your boyfriend. I'm not joking, but
I
because
hold pads for my 11-year-old son.
That's fucking awesome.
I think it's a good idea just for the simple fact that it builds confidence. And I think that builds confidence for kids as well. And everybody who says, oh, bullying, guess what? Bullying's been around for fucking ever. It's not going away. Do I agree with it? No, I don't agree with it. But at the same time, it's a fact that it's going to happen. So get some fucking thick skin.
It's been interesting seeing some of the reactions because I'm very, very anti-bully, and not that I was really bullied as a child because I've been, I'm 50 years old. I've been trained since I was 10. That's 40 years under the multiple belts that I have. But really, a lot of people come out and say, you got to defend the weak, and it's like, no, I do, I get that, but I would rather not only defend those that can't defend themselves, but teach them how to defend themselves. The best anti-bully is yourself, and being able to stand up for yourself.
I agree with that. I mean, look at the Israeli model. Everybody out there is pretty much a soldier. I mean, it's just the way it is. I'm not saying the U.S. has to go to that.
Well, yeah, they're surrounded by everybody that hates
them. Exactly. But if you look at it, I mean, if we had a bomb go off on our streets here, and that bomb goes off, it's weeks of this and that. They get all that shit cleaned up, people patched up, and do what they need to do. Hours later, that fucking market's back open.
Yeah, and I guess my biggest thing is that people forget. And you look at what happened in New Zealand, and it breaks my heart when that goes down. Something like that goes down, but they forget, Look at, and can't remember which country it's in, but it's like, and I'm not Christian, so that's a thing. But I'm not defending that. But there were 200 Christians. They're systematically being executed in Africa.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't make the news because it doesn't
fit the agenda.
Exactly. It doesn't make for a good headline. One guy goes in and kills a bunch of Muslims, and all of a sudden, a white guy with a gun's an asshole. But those guys over there aren't assholes? I mean, come on.
Well, and this is the thing. This is one thing that came up was like, this is why we have the Second Amendment. You look at the knee-jerk reaction that the Prime Minister of New Zealand did, and it was like within 2 weeks they've now banned semi-automatic weapons in New Zealand. And
so you've made terrorism work then.
Yeah.
That's ultimately what it is.
They got what they wanted.
Yeah.
Well, the interesting thing about that too, and a lot of what the media isn't talking about and stuff, is they said, hey, voluntarily turn your weapons in, and out of 1.5 million,
yeah, it's a handful.
37.
And I'm sure it's probably more than that.
But still, it's not.
That's the point being is that, again, you've now just turned a whole bunch of people into bad guys. Of law-abiding citizens in New Zealand are now criminals.
Well, if you look right now, the left's pushing really hard for assault weapons ban, which I don't even know what an assault weapon is.
Well, and that's I honestly,
my assault weapon.
I don't think, and call me, I don't know, I don't think I'm naive. I've been all over this planet in the biggest shitholes on this planet, and I can't see something like that ever going into effect again. I just don't think you've got over 300 million weapons in the United States, and it's like one firearm for every person alive. My weapon out. I mean, Jesus son has 2, so he's accounted for.
But that's the thing though, is it turns into you take away my weapon. You know what I mean? I posted a meme not too long ago
I love that
of take away my gun, sure, and it's a carpenter stapler with a shotgun shell and a pipe welded to it, and it works.
Well,
I
look
mean,
what's
you
happening.
go prison style. I'm gonna find a way.
Look what's
what
happening
happens.
in the UK. This is, and you read the headline and you go, that's got to be bullshit. It's got to be absolutely ridiculous. They want to put GPS trackers on knives.
Yeah,
No, I know.
kitchen knives. Not
We ban guns. Our crime's going to be fine. Their violent crime ramps up. Well, banning guns didn't work. Let's ban pointy objects. What are they going to do next? Hey, you can't have that stick. It's got a point on it. They're going to GPS every fucking tree out there. I mean, think about it. It's bullshit.
But that's their thought process. And instead of addressing things like here in the U.S., like mental health and all of that, they want to turn law-abiding citizens into criminals. And I think that's just wrong.
Yeah.
I agree. It's wrong. But it's not. We're not looking at it. It's a constitutional right, and like that, it's a God-given right. Whatever you believe, you have the right to defend yourself, no matter what. Whatever God you believe in, we're all different panel here. So you have that right to defend yourself. You have the right to speak your mind. Government itself should not limit your defense. I mean, fuck it. My opinion, you can own a tank. I don't care. Don't be a dick. Don't blow up your neighbor's house. That type of shit.
Don't run me over on the freeway.
Don't run me over on the freeway.
That's my point.
But that goes back into that where it is like it's the nap. It's like don't step over that other person's personal space.
The non-aggression principle is sound. I've yet to find
100%.
someone that can disprove the non-aggression principle.
Well, no, they try and throw all kinds of rhetoric at you, and then when you bring facts to the table,
You
they
put
flip
too much faith in humanity to believe humanity will do the right thing. Okay, but I'm going to put my faith in these people over here who are part of humanity, which is government, and they're going to do the right thing.
Which, see, and my thing is that we have to have a little bit of faith in humanity.
I have an overwhelming large faith in humanity. Don't get me wrong, I'm very much a misanthrope in many different ways.
Yes, you are.
It's just like, fuck. But I look at it and it just reaches a point where people are no longer wanting to help each other. And every chance I get, I'm going to help someone. I'm not going to be that guy that's going to watch someone get harmed, or I will step up and do that, putting my life on the line. But I'm not a cop. I don't give a shit.
I'm not a sheepdog.
I know.
And that was my thing, like, because people are like, well, would you have run into a gunfight in Charlie Square? It's not my thing.
Yeah.
That is like 100%, and I feel bad. You feel sorry for humanity, and I'm like, all those people that were shot, well, sucks to be them. They should have had a gun.
Well, for some of you that don't know what happened in Trolley Square, so what? It's been years now, 10 or 12 years. We had somebody kind of go nutty and shoot up a shopping area or whatever. Off-duty police officer helped stopped it, and it's awesome that it happened. But that happened. It's sad that a lot of people ended up bleeding out because simple things like first aid.
There were so many tourniquets there, things to pack wounds.
But the clothing stores, people bled out because nobody had the nerve to say, "Hey, I'm going to apply a little bit of pressure on this and soak up the blood." I'm pretty sure after the store got shut up, nobody's caring if the insurance is going to cover it. I promise. But at the same time, sheepdog mentality. It's a cool concept. Don't get me wrong.
I'm not a sheepdog.
But I am not a sheepdog. I'm not. I don't like that term. I think that it's one of those things that you definitely need to be. I don't know. It's you have to. You have to stand up for what you believe in.
Well,
but I'm not going to run into a burning building unless I have a reason to run into.
Conversation that I had was. That's the conversation that I had was. I'm going to defend myself, my family. Like if I was in Trolley Square at the time, there's eating lunch at there's a restaurant in there that was just down the way from that. Is I would turn to everybody around me and say, look, if you want to get out alive, follow me. You do exactly what I say and follow me out. And that's what it would be. My one of my very good friends that owns Sit-Tac Targets, Todd Pixton, had the best analogy, and it was, are you willing to jump into a Shark Tank for someone else? A gold watch, says a gold watch falls off into a Shark Tank. Are you going to jump in after a gold watch? Well, no.
Heck no.
Okay, well, so someone else's kid falls into a Shark Tank. Are you going to jump in? Well, no.
I'd probably shoot the shark.
No, I know you would.
That's just me.
But SeaWorld's a no-carry place.
They don't know, won't hurt them.
But you know, would you jump into a Shark Tank? Well, no, that's the father that whose child slipped into the tank. That's for him to go. If my kid went into the Shark Tank, damn straight I'm going in right after him.
Well, that's where we talked about accountability and responsibility come in. You know, we are responsible for the people we love. We're not responsible for the world in a sense. We're responsible. We're not responsible for everybody else. We're not our brother's keeper in a sense, but yet some of us are our brother's keeper.
But I don't know. I think that's all on kind of how you were raised or your relationship with that person. Don't get me wrong, because I mean I'm an only child, so I don't have family. So I mean I have family. Don't get me wrong, but my friends, my closest friends, guys like David, guys like Jeff, you know, definitely it's one of those things that the analogy of, is your friend the type of friend that calls and says, hey, I'm having a bad day? Does he show up with a shovel and a shotgun, or does he say, oh, that sucks, man? I'm the guy that's showing up with a shovel and a shotgun and probably a barrel of some kind of, I don't know, chemical to make things dissolve. That's the way that I think. That's how I react. And with their kids, you know, I'm protector of that. I take on that responsibility, and that's how I look at it. But I wouldn't do the same with somebody who's an acquaintance that says, oh, that's my boy. No. We're friends. This is my family. Yeah. You know, and I think that people get confused with that and say, oh, we're all part of the same team or whatever. No, it's not the same.
No, it's just like, let's take the 3% movement for one thing. You know,
you can leave it if you'd like. I'm happy to just leave it.
Yeah, I mean, do we really have to discuss this? I mean, the 3% movement, it's a bunch of guys getting around bullshitting and saying they do this and do this, and in all honesty, when shit comes down to the fan, they're not going to do anything. They're going to hand in their fucking guns. They're going to do all that shit. I'm very vocal about how I feel. And
I love the saying, everybody wants to be an anarchist until it's time to do anarchy shit.
Yep.
Well, yeah, it's just like everybody wants to be a lion until it's fucking time to be a lion, and you fucking gotta remind everybody why the lion is the king of the jungle, because it's not always the biggest and baddest animal. You could look at an elephant. The elephant should be the king of the jungle then. Well, an elephant isn't going to bite your face off. Yeah. They could step on you, don't get me wrong, because they're powerful, awesome animals, but, you know.
Fur missile.
Chewing on people.
Biting people, that's what you do best, huh?
So I think kind of rolling everything down and taking things where we've gone. I'm excited to see the comments. We're definitely going to work on the audio. You guys have anything else you want to talk about? We'll get some links posted in here. And, you know, I think we're going to wind it down and call it a spot. Unless anybody else got anything else they want to talk about.
I made it through mine.
Yeah. I mean, pretty much the state of the world is, honestly, pay attention. You know, do research yourself. Quit listening to all this shit everybody's telling you. If you don't know the answer, look for it. Yeah, you're going to have to wade through fucking miles and miles of bullshit. But once you find the answer, you're going to feel good about yourself.
Google it.
Google it.
fucking Google
That's the truth. So, I follow a guy named Sean Whalen. He's got that book, How to Make Shit Happen. Literally, he talks about it. You don't know something? Google it. You want to build a fucking rocket ship? You can go on Google and find plans from NASA how to build a fucking rocket ship. So, if you don't know it, Google it. You don't have to believe it, but research it. Because there's all sorts of stuff there, and it's free.
No, I mean,
Leave.
speaking of something that's actually pretty interesting on that, have you heard the whole thing on Facebook, the Be Ungovernable, and the guy that's releasing all the CNC data for the 3D printers on how to print a lower...
I think
Yeah.
that's something that we should talk about, but I think that's something that
That's
we
like
can-
a whole
yeah,
segment all in
that's
itself.
a whole in itself.
Let me add this little piece, okay? You can ban whatever you want, okay? It's not going to matter. Give me a 5-axis CNC mill. I will create shit that will be your worst fucking nightmare. The only way you're going to get rid of stuff like that is get rid of people like me. And when that happens, people are going to fucking notice. So, no, you can't outright ban shit. It creates a black market. And the black market thrives.
All right, Jesus.
Yeah.
So yeah, all right. Well, thanks for
Leave-
everybody.
Leave comments on topics that come up for you. We'll take everything in to play. We'll have everything set up a little better and a little more functional.
Most definitely. If you want to hear us talk about certain things, or even if you're somebody that wants to come out and hang out with us, smoke a cigar, and even talk about shit, let us know.
Even if you have a different viewpoint.
Yeah, and most definitely, if you're anti-gun, I change my mind. I dare you. I change my mind. Show me your side, and we'll have a conversation, a straight-up conversation.
No yelling, no arguing,
no
just
yelling.
Bring to the
arguing.
table what you think,
Exactly.
and we'll talk. And that's everything from. I mean, we're in Utah where the whole alcohol thing has come
Yeah.
up over this last legislative session. You know, to religion, to
Most definitely.
all of it.
I'd love for somebody to change my mind about socialism and communism. I think that'd be a great conversation.
I don't know how they could.
Got an aircraft?
All right, guys. Once again, thanks. We'll get this down a little bit better.
From the Marine, the Merc,
And
Yep.
and the Army.
From the Marine, the Merc, and the arms dealer. Have a great Sunday. Kill your week. We'll look forward to seeing you during the week with some of my own stuff. Talk to you later.
Stack bodies.
Wage war, stack bodies.